This is Copycat, a show where I take one journal keeper, scrapbooker, crafter, or artist, analyze their artistic style and aesthetic, and then create my own journal spread or art piece that is inspired by their personal artistic style. Let's begin. James Luke Burke is an Anaheim-based small business owner, mixed media artist, YouTuber, and dancer. His eponymous e-commerce store, James Luke Burke Creative, or JLB Creative for short, was first created in 2016 on the Etsy e-commerce platform. James's mixed media artwork is colorful, bubbly, and whimsical, and it comes to no surprise that his wonderfully energetic personality matches the art that he creates. Without further ado, let's analyze James's distinct artistic style. If you take a quick scroll through James's Etsy store, it's evident that James loves to create and depict people in his artwork. From fictional characters to random sketches, James loves to incorporate humans or human-like beings like fairies and mermaids in his art. If you look at his artistic compositions more closely, it is evident that James is inspired by fashion illustration and has a background in that type of illustration style. The way James plays with bodily proportions in his art is reminiscent to the way fashion illustrators exaggerate or lengthen the human body in their sketches to produce fun and striking silhouettes. James's passion for fashion also extends past his mixed media artwork and even into fun fashion styling videos. If you peek at some of James's completed journal spreads and artwork, it's evident that James is inspired by fairy tales and fantasy stories. His otherworldly creations reference some of our favorite stories and fairy tales, like Alice in Wonderland, Snow White, and Cinderella, just to name a few. James transports us to these different worlds through his art by creating whimsical spreads, utilizing bright colors, and layering different patterns and textures. As a mixed media artist, photos, magazine clippings, past artwork, and other found ephemera are all fair game in terms of James's journal spreads and artwork. By mixing and matching these items with his illustrations and paintings, you get pieces of work that almost seem three-dimensional due to the various layers and patterns that James uses. James utilizes various types of media in his artwork, ranging from alcohol-based markers, watercolor paint, acrylic paint, gesso, gouache, and the list goes on. Basically, he's the MacGyver of the mixed media art world. He's able to create with what he has, which is both very resourceful and inspiring. In terms of colors, James tends to favor bright colors, and his works usually feature 2 to 3 analogous colors. His works look whimsical because he's not afraid to use unconventional colors when painting or coloring in his character illustrations. Some characters can be seen with bluish skin tones, and makeup looks featuring pink and purple hues. If you want to get the James Luke Burke creative illustration style, but aren't confident with your illustration skills, don't fear, because you can purchase one of his many beautiful collage sheets and digital stamps from his Etsy store. James also sells physical clear stamps and washi tapes, which showcase his whimsical illustration style. These products can be used to create an infinite combination of art pieces and journal spreads. With this knowledge, I think I'm ready to create my very own James Luke Burke inspired Traveler's Notebook journal spread. So first of all, I actually am using a Midori Traveler's Notebook in the regular size, and this is the blank version, so the paper isn't too thick or too thin, and there aren't any lines or grid lines in the notebook, which is great. And I just went straight in with this Dilutions paint. I purchased the Dilutions London Blue and Dilutions Postbox Red. I think I got the names right. And I saw James use these paints in his older videos. He was using it quite a bit in his older videos, so I thought I would give the watercolors a break and try something new. And I actually really like this paint. I will try and use it in future spreads. But when I mixed the purple and the red together, it didn't really make a really appealing color of purple. So I dried off the paint with my hairdryer because I don't have a heat gun or drying tool, and I added another layer of red, and then I'm going to go in with another layer of blue. And if this spread looks slightly familiar, I'm actually drawing inspiration from one of James's videos. I believe it's called Recreating One of My 2015 Art Journal Spreads. I think that's the title, but I really like that spread. It featured Dilutions paint, like the paint that I'm using right now, and I believe he used a pink and turquoise color. So if you're wondering why there are many James Burke stamp sets and art pieces on my table, it's because I've actually been working on this Copycat episode since 2017, or at least I was planning to work on it since December of 2017. But I did order this stamp set, the face-based stamp set from James on his Etsy store for this video. But when I received the order, James threw in so many stamp sets, and that's so nice of him. He even threw in one of his handmade tags, a few die cuts, and even a washi tape sample or samples, and that's so kind of him. So thank you, James, if you're watching this. But yeah, I thought it would be cheating if I used one of the tags or one of the die cuts, so I just used the face base, which is the one that I initially purchased for this video. And I did a practice round, and as you can see on the left side of the screen earlier, I was just trying to practice and I thought it looked bad, but then when I kept drawing, it turned out all right. So I just copied that one that I did, and this is where I make a grave mistake. I gave this poor girl some Nike swoosh eyebrows, and it looks funny, but it also looks really whimsical, so I'm just gonna go with it. And then I gave her cheeks that have hearts on them. I worked on the second girl, and when I was working on the first girl, I thought I would make them twins, so they look pretty similar in terms of their facial features, but I gave them different cheeks. So the second girl has broken heart cheeks, and then I also changed up her eyebrows because I wasn't that fond of the Nike swoosh eyebrows. And both of them have elongated necks because I still wanted to work in that whimsical aspect, as well as James's take on fashion illustrations. And I don't know much about fashion illustration, but I know that they like to elongate the body, and I thought that the neck would be the one thing I could elongate, since I didn't want to tackle and work on the full body. I just wasn't confident enough to paint or draw a full body, so I thought the neck would be the one thing that would be elongated and to make these two girls look very stylized. And then I just fussy cut them out. I didn't give them hair because I wanted to work on giving them some cool hair using construction paper, and we'll work on that in a little bit. But since I was fussy cutting this, I was also watching some random YouTube videos, and I think there was a video about Kylie Jenner or something that was on BuzzFeed, and they showed this photo of her lying down on a field or somewhere. She was lying down and her hair just was flowing on the floor or wherever she was, and it made some heart patterns, and I drew inspiration from that, and I thought that I would make these girls lying down. One girl would be upside down, so it looks like they are, I guess, lying down opposite of each other, and I just wanted their hair to intertwine with each other and look like it was just one piece united together. And I use a pencil to roughly sketch that out, and then I'm gonna go in with a paint pen. Before adding the white details, I just used a tape runner to adhere the girls onto the black paper, and since their foreheads were a little bit bare, I just gave them some black construction bangs or hair, because yeah, their forehead just wasn't covered and it looked a little bit odd if their foreheads were just bare and then they had long flowing hair at the back. So I covered up their foreheads with a little bit of black construction paper, and then I went in with my white paint pen. And this isn't the Posca brand that James likes to use, but this will do the trick. I've actually tried the Posca paint pens and they work amazing. I just don't know where my white one went, and I am just using these cheaper ones from Michaels. They get the job done, but since the construction paper is very absorbent, I feel like they were just absorbing the white paint pen ink a lot, and it wasn't looking as opaque as I would like, so that was a little bit disappointing. And then I just kept on going. I implemented this, I guess, sketching or line drawing style. I like to do this in a lot of my spreads, and I thought I would include this in this spread to add my own flair to this James Burke inspired spread and give it a little bit of a Job touch. And I know James uses similar techniques in his spread, so that's great. It's two birds with one stone. And then I felt that the center of the the girl's hair just looked a little bit bare, so I'm gonna add something in the center, but unfortunately my camera died and I didn't get to capture it. But I wanted to incorporate some brush lettering, so I used the Dilution's red paint. That's the, I think it's called Postbox Red, and I just scripted out the word rise in the center of their hair because it just looked a little bit too bare. But before I do that, I just fussy cut the girls out, and I fussy cut their hair out as well. This was a little bit easier since I didn't really add any individual strands, so it's just one big block of hair. And then before adding that to the spread, I went in with my Moonlight white ink from Brilliance, and I used this stencil since I've seen James play around with stencils in his videos before. And then I just dried that using my trusty hairdryer. And yeah, I was looking at this and it just looked a little too bare, like I said earlier. And then I used this Dilution's paint and I scripted the word rise. There's really no particular reason why I chose rise. I was listening to this album called Rise actually, and I thought I would just go with that. It's from the artist Taeyang. He's a South Korean artist. If you want to check him out, go check him out. I like his work, but that's besides the point. And then around the edge of the spread, I just scripted out the words stand up and rise, since I thought that was kind of similar to the vibe that was happening with the word rise in the center. And also I was listening to Humble by Kendrick Lamar, and since it was sit down, be humble, I thought it would be funny to put stand up and rise. And yeah, there really is no particular reason why I wrote that down. And then I did a outline with a black permanent marker, just because the girls were just looking a little bit lost in the spread because the background is a little bit busy, so that black permanent marker just grounds them to the spread a little bit more. And then I used this white paint pen again to outline the word rise, just to make it pop a little bit more, since the line drawing in the girl's hair was just making that word look a little bit lost. And that's pretty much it. As one final embellishment, I used the Decora stamp set that James so kindly sent over, and I just added a few flowers to the spread, and that's it. So this is the completed spread, and I love how this turned out. It is bright, whimsical, and fun, and those are all things that I associate with James's style. If there was one thing that I would change, I would have definitely given these girls a purplish or bluish skin tone, just to play with that surreal and whimsical aspect to James's art. Also, I wish I would have used some watercolors, but since I really wanted to challenge myself, I am glad that I used some acrylic paint instead. I also really like that I added some brush lettering, which incorporates a little bit of my style to this spread. Enough with the babbling, let's recap what we learned today. To summarize, if you want a journal like James, follow these guidelines. Number 1, don't be afraid to play around with proportions in your illustrations. Number 2, use bright colors, patterns, and different media to add dimension and complexity to your spreads. Number 3, reference fairy tales and fantasy stories in your artwork to help you create whimsical elements in your spreads. And lastly, number 4, have fun with your art and don't be afraid to sprinkle a bit of magic and sass to your artwork. James's work conveys a sense of whimsy and joy, which is a result of his fun-loving personality and his love for stories and storytelling. If you reach within your imagination and use that as a basis for your artwork, you'll have no problem creating masterpieces like James's. Now go out there and be a copycat.
G'day friends, I'm James of James Luke Burke Creative. I just wanted to quickly pop on and say thank you for watching today's episode of Copycat. Now, you may not know this, but personally, I have been a big fan of the series ever since Job's first episode about Amy Tangerine. And in the second episode, my good friend Ali Brown popped up, and now it is so surreal to be sitting in front of you today with my own episode. I am very thankful to all you lovely subscribers and viewers that for whatever reason put my name forward forward to Job, he was able to reach out to me over social media and coordinate this episode happening. So I am truly thankful for that. I just love the series. For me, it's like a This Is Your Life, but about your creative journey. The trip down memory lane. I love looking at all the analytical portion and how Job just dissects it all. It's truly fascinating. So as a content consumer of Job's channel for a while, I'm so happy to be a part of this episode and this series, and I just want to thank you again. It's very, very humbling to be put in a category with people like Amy and Ali, women that are so intelligent, so creative, so passionate, that do so much to nurture creativity in others. I'm really, really humbled by that passion, and I am just so happy to be included in that. So I want to say thank you again to everyone that put my name forward for whatever reason you did. I really, really appreciate it. On the flip side, as a content creator myself, Job doesn't know this, but I was very, very close to trying an episode of Copycat. Of course I was going to give credit, but we didn't even need to worry about that because I got this far into the research portion and realized just how much work it was. So I want to congratulate Job for putting all these videos together because it is an incredible amount of work, and I really, really respect that. So thank you again for letting me be a part of this. Do all the good YouTube stuff, like the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell. If you want to check out any of my socials, I'm at James Luke Burke Creative, and again, thanks. Bye.
Thank you so much, James, for your kind words. All of James's links will be in the description bar below. Go check out his work. You've already seen a glimpse of his work on this episode, but if you check out his social media links and his Etsy store, you will be surprised to see all the amazing work that's on there. So go check his work out, and don't forget to like and comment and subscribe and share this video. That would really mean a lot. It takes a lot of effort and work to put these episodes together, so I would greatly appreciate that. And don't forget to let me know who you would like me to analyze in the next episode of Copycat. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye, everyone.